Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughan Manor, where Roger and I have returned to talk about the battle between good and evil. It's the battle between good and evil, Roger. I'm with Roger today, so we're mostly going to be talking about evil, but why am I talking about this? Well, of course, the battle between good and evil informs a lot of fiction. The problems caused by evil, the difficulty of doing good, these things are ever present in the stories that we tell. They are big problems in our lives, in our actual lives, so it makes sense that they would exist in fiction, in the stories that we tell. Evil has been an ever-present problem ever since people started being people. As long as there have been people, there has been evil. Unfortunately, fortunately, there has also been good. There have been people who are out to help other people and to do good things. But no, evil's always around too, to mess everything up. So let's talk about evil really quick. Roger would talk about it all day, but let's talk about it. What is evil? We should probably define that. Evil is very simple. Evil is a behavior. Evil is causing deliberate and unnecessary harm. That's all it is. It's nothing more. There is no such thing as an outside force that causes evil. There are no devils, there are no demons that can influence us or possess us and cause us to do bad things. I know some people believe there are. Prove it. I know some people believe there are, but there aren't. No devils exist outside of ourselves. So, evil is a thing that we do. There are people that have the belief that for evil to really be evil, a person would have to take enjoyment, would have to get some kind of satisfaction from the deliberately harmful act that they are committing. And you can go so far as to say, if you see or know about a harmful act to somebody or a group of people, and you take if you get satisfaction out of that, that makes you happy, that is evil as well. And that is an interesting idea, one that I would not dismiss entirely, except I don't think that that's a necessary factor for evil. I think that there were probably Nazis who did terrible things and didn't enjoy it. Nevertheless, they did those terrible things. And those terrible things were evil things that they did. So I don't think you necessarily have to take satisfaction in order for the action that you commit to be evil. Another thing to understand about people is that since we are people, we are all capable of evil, every single one of us. Some people actually believe they're not capable of it. They are. We all are. And that is one of the problems and challenges of being human, is that we have to watch out for that. Because we can do evil things when our intentions are good. We think we're doing the right thing. And this is where a lot of the problems arise. And this is something that has been examined in fiction a lot it's one of the main themes of a lot of stories. Is what you're doing right or wrong? Because there are plenty of people doing terrible things when those things are not necessary. But they convince themselves or are convinced by others that these terrible things that they do are necessary. Sometimes it's clear cut. If you are a police officer and there's a mass shooter out there shooting people, and you shoot that person, you are causing harm to that person. but clearly it is in the defense of others who are being killed. Your action is not evil in this case. You are actually doing good even though you've harmed this person. That's pretty clear cut, and usually it is not clear cut. Sometimes it seems a lot more complex than that. So this is something that people have to think about. You have to be careful that you are not committing an evil act. And this can be especially difficult when you have other people trying to influence you to do bad things for their own nefarious purposes. Sometimes they think they're doing good when they try to influence you to be bad, but they're not being good. And this is difficult when we are all walking around in the world with propaganda machines in our pockets. You can get the propaganda of your choice. And very often, this propaganda is trying to tell you to do bad things to other people who believe things that are different than what you believe. It's hard, sometimes to know good from evil. And that has been a subject of fiction forever because this is a problem. It's a problem of being human. And it's something that is important to examine and to think about, because the most dangerous thing in the world that we face every day as human beings are other human beings. People are more dangerous to people than anything else. There are floods, there are fires, there are earthquakes, there are terrible storms. All of these things are extremely dangerous, and not one of them is evil. There is no evil intent behind any of those things. Even an animal attack isn't evil, because animals attack you usually because they want to eat you. And that is for survival, and that is not evil. It's just animals being animals. Dangerous, yes, but not evil. But if somebody wants to kill you because they think you believe the wrong thing, or you're the wrong kind of person, or for any other reason, when you're just minding your own business, that is evil. And people want to harm you for all kinds of different reasons. People want to steal your stuff. People want to take advantage of you. People want to exploit you. People are always doing evil things. Very often they rationalize the evil things they do. Well, I have to do it because because I need the money, or I need this, or I need that, or they deserve it because they're so dumb they're letting me, exploit them. People rationalize all the time, and it's unfortunate, but of course, this is the ever-presence of evil, which is something we have to be on guard against when we're dealing with other people and when we're trying to behave properly in our own lives. Like I said, we're all capable of committing evil acts. And so we have to be very, very careful that we do not. We have to think about our behavior and the things that we do. And one thing that can help us are stories. Stories have existed for as long as human beings have existed. And a lot of these stories that we read are examining these issues. These issues, like I said, have been with us forever. You can read the Iliad and the Odyssey, and you will find people struggling with these issues, very often getting it wrong, which is something that we can see now. But very often, people make the same mistakes and are committing the same actions that are evil that people did thousands of years ago. But stories can be helpful because they can help us examine these issues safely. Sometimes stories simplify these things. Sometimes they make them too simple, perhaps. And one of my favorite types of storytelling, it is true, are superhero comic books, which very often, but not always, simplify these issues. But not always. But that is a place when I was younger and growing up that did show me the value of doing good, helping others, which is the flip side to evil. Something Roger's not particularly interested in, but that is the flip side, helping others, being kind to other people, deliberately trying to make other people's lives better, and fighting against evil influences and the doing of evil. This again can be difficult because we do not live in a black and white world. There are times when none of your choices are going to be good. You can be put into such an extreme situation in life where none of the things that you do are going to be good things. Somebody might be hurt no matter what you do. But you have to do something. You've got no choice. This is why it could be sticky, and why the world, unfortunately, is not as clear cut as a lot of comic books are. But stories can help us figure out what things are good and what things are evil. This is complicated by the fact that a lot of stories get it wrong. A lot of mythology gets it wrong. Religion very often gets it very wrong. But these are things that we have to figure out. How do you live in the world and do good and not do evil? It is a problem that we always face as human beings, and this is something we face throughout our entire lives. And it is a particular problem now, it feels like, when it seems like evil is on the rise again, as it sometimes does. It happens where, there's a level of evil and then it spikes. And I feel like it's kind of spiking now. There are reasons for that, but it is something that you have to guard against. You have to be careful. Don't let yourself be influenced to do bad things. Just, harming people unnecessarily, always bad. And it's probably unnecessary. If you think you've got to hurt somebody and they're not currently hurting you, like deliberately, it's probably bad. You're probably going to be doing an evil thing. So don't do it. Be good. Help people. And stories are around and have been around forever. That'll help us figure that out. Okay, Roger, do you have anything to add? He's upset because I mentioned good. Okay, guys, I will catch you next time.